All right. Hello and welcome, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for today's session, which is all about mobile apps. So get in the G Suite groove, mobile apps. My name's Nick. I'm a change manager here at Agosto. If you've joined us for previous sessions, you've heard that spiel before, so I don't need to go into it. My second slide, you've probably all heard me say this as well. You all, over the past few weeks, have been an awesome group about this, but we're using Google Meet, which means I'm going to ask you all to keep yourself muted throughout today's session. If you do have questions, of course, you're more than open to just clicking on the chat button and typing your question in. I reserve time at the end to answer as many as I can. If you're wondering where's the chat button, it's going to be in the upper right-hand corner. It's going to look something like this. And I'll be answering those questions at the end of our session together. I don't want to waste a ton of time. I see a ton of folks have joined. Thanks, everyone. So let's just talk about session goals today. It's pretty straightforward. We're working remotely, most of us, and even if we're in the office again, we still need to be effective on our phones throughout the day. So how can you be effective using your phone while working in this new environment? So whether it's your mobile calendar, whether it's Gmail on your mobile device, or whether it's using some new tools that maybe you haven't even started using, Keep or Tasks or Google Chat, all of these are good apps to have on your phone, ready to go, but also be comfortable with. Today's session won't be a training, even though I keep saying training. Today's a webinar, so we can't do a deep dive into any of these and talk about all the features, but I wanted to hit some of the key features that might help you using these apps in your day-to-day. I'll try to keep it light and anecdotal. I want you to ask questions using chat, just because we are recording for everyone who isn't able to join us. And you know what? Since that's what we always do, let's just dive right in. Let's see here. A little bit of coordination here. I'm going to drag this screen over, and you're going to see my live phone. There you go. You can see I'm holding it. So we'll use this phone throughout today's session, and I'll also go into whatever tool I'm going to be talking about. I'm going to start with Calendar. Calendar is what I use throughout the day. It's an app that I think is super useful, and it's an app that, frankly, I think a lot of users complain about for a few good reasons. So let's talk about how we can maybe optimize the app to work a little better throughout your day. So when you look at my screen here, you can see that I'm in my calendar right now. And this is the native view of Google Calendar's app. And what this is a task view. And I think a lot of folks prefer maybe not a task view. So if you look at my screen on the right side here, you can see that's what it looks like on my desktop. I'd rather see something similar to that. So the first thing I tell most folks is if you click the hamburger menu in the upper left-hand corner, you're going to see that you can change your view right away. Now, there's a lot of other stuff in here, but let's just focus on that first. So whether I do a 3-day view or a week view, I can see that this now mirrors the experience I have on my desktop. And even better than that, I always tell folks, get comfortable with the color you choose. So let's say I change the color to something a little brighter. I can quit the app. If I go back into it, it'll adjust to that color automatically. So it syncs across all devices as well. So if you're managing multiple calendars, which some of you probably are, right? You can get keyed in on which color calendar you're looking at, or if it's your personal calendar as well, you can have that overlaid next to your work calendar. The second thing I tell folks is on the left side now, pay attention to that. When you're looking at your calendar, you can pinch to zoom. And this works on Android too. So once you're in this view, you can pinch to zoom so you don't have a ton of wasted white space throughout your screen, right? So I'm referencing my calendar constantly throughout the day. And the last thing I want to do is be looking at the hours of 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. or frankly 8 to 10 p.m., right? I'm not going to be looking at that. So I pinch to zoom. I can certainly undo that, but if I redo that, you see I'm seeing just my calendar time throughout the day, kind of that 7 to 5 block. And as a reminder, I know a lot of folks have joined. I'm using an iPhone today. I couldn't verify everything worked on Android, but I think most of the features I'm talking about will work on your Android device as well. Okay, so the last thing before we kind of talk about creating events in Calendar, because I think that can be useful when you're away from your desk. The last thing to know is, you're totally able to jump around. So if you click the month name near the upper left-hand corner, it's just going to open up the full view of that month, and you can just scroll to the right to see further ahead. Maybe you want to see what's going on the week of July 20th. Looks like I got my grandma's birthday that day. I can expand it to see the full day or full 3 days. And then the upper right-hand corner, this button, that little blue kind of button that I just clicked, will take me back to the day. So just like on your desktop, you're never lost, right? If we remember back to our desktop, we're always referencing this today button because I tend to schedule things far in advance. Great, I can do that on my mobile device as well. So that interface that I'm super comfortable with on my mobile device, even though it's not the default view you can quickly get to. And again, for folks who joined late, the hamburger button, and I could even do a full week here as well. Now, if I turned it sideways, which I have tested, it would automatically go to landscape. It gets a little funky when I'm displaying on my computer, so we won't do that today, but just know that I can certainly turn it sideways to see that landscape view as well. Okay, so the next thing you're gonna wanna know is, scheduling events. If I'm out in the backyard because my girls are playing with their water table and I just get a quick chat from someone saying, hey, can we just meet tomorrow at 2 p.m.? Sure, absolutely. I can go into my calendar. I could click the plus in the lower right-hand corner and create something right there. Or maybe better yet, just click and hold on your calendar. You're gonna see that little plus pull up. I can click and drag to make that event longer or shorter, as you can see on my screen there. It'll even give me the end time on the left side there. So maybe I want 2 to 3:15. Perfect. I can do that. Let go. It'll create that event. Everything on this screen, you all know what to do, right? You need a title, of course. You can add guests. Let's just make an event here quick. Test event. We'll just add a couple of guests, maybe Dwight. And I like to add Sarah too. Perfect. It'll list them out right here. Just click the back arrow. And of course, because we're not going to be in the same room, I'm going to click this add video conferencing a little further down. You can see it right there. Click that. It'll add Google Meet to that event as I create it. It's that easy, right? So those same interface cues that you're used to on your desktop will absolutely work on your mobile device. So you don't need to run back to your remote workspace computer. You're not tied to your desk to create a quick event like that. Now it's called test event. You see how quickly it syncs to my computer. That test event is already there. The last thing I'll say is I can quickly check colleagues' calendars on the go as well. And how do we do that? That's a little bit more hidden, but as a reminder on my desktop, as you look at my mouse there, I can see Angela's, Daryl's, Dwight's, Jim's, all of these calendars here. I've already added them. If I click into the hamburger menu on my phone now, again, you'll see that pop up. I'm going to click Show More under Nick at demo.agosto. And of course, why wouldn't it freeze for me? Let's restart that. There we go. Okay, now I can see Angela or Daryl. I can just click on any of their names. Maybe not Jim. Let's do Sarah because it's a different color. And now I can see Sarah's overlaid next to mine. And you're looking here on my desktop, it's the same view, right? So all of those interface cues that you're used to can happen on your mobile device. I'm so comfortable with using my mobile calendar that even if I'm sitting at my desk, I'll probably end up referencing my mobile calendar before I reference my desktop calendar. Nothing I can't do on this. I'm gonna go back into my hamburger menu on the left side there, mute Sarah, and you'll see how quick it is to undo that. So super easy to scale up using your calendar. Why did I start with calendar? Like I said, I use this all day, every day. Even before I was working from home, which it's been 8 weeks now for us, I was using this all day, every day. I rely on this for my notifications for next meetings, things like that. I run through my mobile calendar. So hopefully that gives you some tips for just quickly using that calendar on your mobile device, whether it's an iPhone or an Android phone. Let's not waste any time. Let's jump right into Gmail. That's the other app that I think I run my mobile day out of, right? I'm not tied to this remote workspace. There's a lot of things that I end up doing in my Gmail app throughout the day as well. So as you can see here, I've navigated to it on my desktop. I'm going to navigate to it on my iPhone as well. Great. So here we are. We know how to use Gmail on our mobile device, right? You're thinking, this guy's not going to tell me. anything I don't know. And you're probably right? Most of the features and functions you're using every day already. I just wanted to highlight a couple things that I think make my life easier as I think about using Gmail on a phone. The first one is settings. So obviously, settings are extensive on your desktop. They're in the gear here. Settings on your mobile device, you're going to click that hamburger menu in the upper left-hand corner. Scroll down, you're going to see all the familiar features that you're aware of, right? Scroll down all the way to settings. Now it's going to show you all the accounts you have attached. I have another one attached. I'll show you why in just a moment. But what I want to focus on now is that first setting, conversation list density. Most folks don't ever touch this. And if you go into it, default shows you the fewest emails at once. And if I'm on my mobile device, I'm not looking to just kind of browse a couple emails at a time. I'm looking to kind of plow through a bunch of emails that maybe I can ignore, archive, or delete for now. So I always recommend folks check out Compact. All it does is shrink down that view so you can see more emails at once. And it gives you a more distinct checkbox on the left side there. So now I can select a few at once and archive them. So just quickly take action on those. It glitched there for a moment. I'm sorry. I got distracted. But quickly take action on those without thinking about it. So the other thing that I tell a lot of folks to do is take advantage of smart replies. If I'm replying to an email on my mobile device, I'm not going to write a long soliloquy, I guess is what I was trying to say there. I'm just going to use these 3 smart replies at the bottom. So you can see there on the bottom of my screen there, it says absolutely, sure, no problem, I don't think so. If I'm replying on my phone because I'm running outside to grab my dog from running into the neighbor's yard again, something like that, I'm not going to be like writing a long email. I'll just write absolutely. 2 clicks, absolutely. I can send that off to my buddy Nicholas, no problem. If I'm writing a long email, I'm going to go back to my desk and type it out. The last thing I'll say about Gmail are swipes. Everyone knows they're there, right? You have these kind of swipes right here where I can swipe left with my finger. You can see I'm doing it, and it'll delete it. If I swipe right, it'll archive it. I think most folks know that's there. What you might not know is you can change those swipes. For me, I'm not going to be swiping to delete ever, right? I'm going to be highlighting a bunch of emails at once and then clicking delete. What you can do, go back into your hamburger menu. So again, the upper left-hand corner. Scroll down to settings again. So always a gear, right? And swipe actions is here. Let's see if I can highlight with my mouse right there. Click on that. You can change your left and right swipe. For me, what do I use? I use snooze a lot. Because if I can't write a long reply right now, so maybe I'll just change right now. If I can't write a long reply right now to someone because I'm on my phone, not sitting at my desk, I want to snooze it for later to remind me later that I need to. So I'll write swipe. I'll just say later today at 6. That's perfect. So now at 6 p.m., that email will come back into my inbox at the very top. And then I'll be sitting at my desk, probably not, but maybe, and then I can write a long reply then. So that's just a quick tip for you. Don't get locked into thinking the swipe has to be delete. It can be any of those actions that we just saw. And to wrap up Gmail, I know most of us are working more right now. I think that's the norm. But at some point, you have to switch it off, right? At some point, you have to be able to step away from your desk and step away from work, I guess, metaphorically too, not just physically. So you probably know this, but if you click on the picture or initial in the upper right-hand corner, oops, not that, sorry, it'll show you all the accounts on your phone. So I can quickly reference, this Nick at Bathke's email to quickly see my personal email in this case. If I click back into it though, and get back to this one, I think a lot of folks don't know, you can just swipe that. So it's hard to see on my screen here, but if I just swipe down, it'll swap between those accounts. If I have 10 accounts attached, I can swipe down to cycle through any of those accounts. So any accounts that I've logged in on Gmail, I can just use that quick swipe to quickly access the next account. I do that throughout the day, but especially at night, when you're not looking to check more email, you're just looking to decompress for a little bit, just quickly swipe to check your personal email at that point. So a lot of use cases within Gmail. All right, so those are my two main ones, right? I use those all day, every day. I imagine you do too. So hopefully you got a couple quick tips out of that. The next two, I think a lot of folks maybe haven't started using, but let's dive into it thinking with an open mind. Maybe there's a couple things we can pull from these. We talked about keeping tasks a few weeks ago together, but we didn't show you on a mobile device what that looks like. And so the first one I'll dive into is Keep. As a reminder, it's available at keep.google.com, but of course there's an app too. And I'm going to share the link to all these apps towards the end of our session together. So I'll open Keep. It looks like the light bulb here. And you'll see, again, the interface is going to mirror itself pretty well, right? So I see my pinned note at the top. It's in green on both. We're going to see all the other notes that I've created on both my desktop and my mobile device. All that makes sense to you. But the first thing that I hear from a lot of folks is, I want to create just a quick bulleted list, kind of like this groceries list here. Well, if you click the plus, it's not going to do that for you. So a minor frustration, it's just going to be kind of this free-form note where you can make a post-it note, right? I'm going to click the back arrow here. If you want to create a list like this, kind of that kale, avocado, quinoa list, not really work-related, but that's okay. In the lower left-hand corner where that check mark is on my phone, if I click that, that's how I can create this list. So now, I can say just, training, oh boy, to-dos, it's very difficult. Webinar, list, lost, perfect, whatever. We'll save that. Okay, so then immediately that note's created, but you see even better, it's already synced to my desktop. So I use Keep all day, every day for quick notes to myself, whether it's a quick task list like that, or just a quick note to remind myself when I get back to my desk. And there's never lag, right? So if I am just quickly starting the next Daniel Tiger video for my 2-year-old who's watched more TV in the last 8 weeks than she ever has, I don't have to forget that, I need to send the email to the client. I can just quickly make the note on my phone. When I get back to my desk, Keep already has it on my desktop too. So it just gives me that flexibility. The other thing that I'm going to show you in Keep that I love is photos. So it's a little, let me just see if I can highlight it here. It's this little icon here. If you click that, it's going to allow you to take a photo or choose a photo. So what are the use cases for this? Well, there's a lot, right? So maybe you need a screenshot of a receipt. No one's traveling now, I know, but eventually we will again, right? You need a screenshot for a receipt for something you're going to send to expenses, right? Or you want to create a visual presentation and you want to use a picture you've taken. All of that's available through Keep. So I'm just going to quickly take a photo. You're going to get maybe my daughter's artwork. Look at that. So we'll take that right there. I'll click Use Photo. And it's going to add it. I can add title. I almost tried to type on my computer. Here it's pics. Okay. We'll send it. We won't send it. Sorry. We'll just save it. Eventually, it'll upload that photo. Takes a little bit longer here. There you go. So now I have this photo here. What does that do for me, Nick? Well, I can do two things. I can click on it and then click my menu here, and I can add it to Google Docs with one click. So now Harriet's pics, including the picture, is now a Google Doc, which I can now send to my finance team. They're not going to want that, but I can send that to my finance team and get that receipt expensed with 2 clicks. I could also just download it. I'm on a Mac, but if you're on a PC, I'm sure you right-click on it, you can save an image really quickly there. So getting images from your phone to your computer doesn't need to be a huge production. It can be literally 2 clicks, and it could be a live photo or something I took earlier, including a screenshot. Down here, I can click Open Doc. It'll open that specific doc where that picture is. So it's that easy to get your data from Keep into somewhere else. And I use that picture thing a lot, and more often than I might even think I do. I use it a lot. My last app for you today, well, I guess 2 more, but my last big one is Tasks. And there's not much to explain here. As a reminder, Tasks lives in any of your G Suite apps, right? So I'm in my inbox here on the right side. I just click that little Tasks icon there. I'll click it on my phone too to launch it here. And of course, the interface is going to be pretty similar, right? We know I need to click plus here to add a task on my phone. I can click plus at the bottom to add a new task, right? New Rask, that's great, Nick. And then I can also add a date to it. All right, so you see that little icon on my screen there. I click on that, add a date to it. Let's say tomorrow. I can even set a time. Let's say 1:20. Sure, why not? Hit save. And within seconds, that new task with the date is here. You all know this because you joined me a few weeks ago, but if I go to my calendar and I click tasks, I'll see, oh, look at that, the colors match. What are the odds? I'll see that new task shows up on my calendar too. So it's that easy to get your tasks, whether you're using Keep or tasks, into the rest of your desktop experience. It doesn't need to be a big production. So I'm not going to spend much time on tasks because frankly, that's it. It's as easy as that to use it. If I check something off, of course, I just check it. It goes off the list. And it even asks you if it's if you're enjoying it. The last thing I wanted to show you, I think most people will get it. It's just I couldn't do a mobile apps session without talking about it. And it's Google Chat. I think several weeks ago we talked about it, and back then it was even called Hangouts Chat. Right now it's just called Google Chat, which makes more sense to me. I'm going to just open it on my phone here. There's nothing complicated about it, right? You go into it, you're going to see all the people you chat with. If I go into chat on my desktop here, you'll see that too. I can send a message to Josh from here really easily, and he'll get it wherever he is. Now, why do I highlight chat? Chat is my link to my team. On the right side, if I click back out of this, on the bottom there, I have rooms. We use our chat rooms throughout the day on our team. Whether it's our status to let folks know, hey, I need to go to the vet today because my dog's not feeling well, or hey, I'm going to log off for an hour to help my son build a treehouse this afternoon. We let each other know within these chat rooms. And so it's a lifeline wherever you are. And we're not tied to our desks, even though we're working from home right now. We still should be able to be mobile within it. So I told you there's not much to talk about with chat, but make sure you're using it because it does make your life, I think, a little bit easier. And of course, as we talked about earlier, don't hesitate to say no notifications after a certain point. If you have an iPhone, you can just turn on Do Not Disturb, which I have it on now, so I don't get any texts during this session. So use chat. I'm not going to explain how to use it. You all know how to use it because you're already using chat on your desktop, but make sure you check that out as well. Now, I feel like timing was pretty good here, so I'm going to hop back into my slide deck. And as we wrap up today, first and foremost, of course, thank you for joining. I was a little nervous about this because of technology. I hope you can all see my screen and hope that made some sense. Hope you were able to pick up some tips within that. We appreciate you joining every week for these. We think we get a lot out of them, so hopefully you do as well. I learn new things as I'm researching, so hopefully you're picking some stuff up throughout these. I want to share out the link, of course, to our feedback form. It just gives you a platform to give us feedback or suggestions for future sessions. And the other thing I wanted to highlight this week is our COVID Resource Center. Our marketing team has worked pretty hard on creating this, and I think it's awesome. I want to make sure all of you are aware of it too. So that's going to come through chat as well. Not that you need to spend a ton of time exploring it now, but please explore that on your own time. There's a ton of great stuff in there, including, if I just go there myself briefly here, maybe, if my internet cooperates, hopefully you can still hear me, including all the previous webinars that we've done. So if you like today, check out the previous ones there. The last thing I'll leave you with are the links to the apps that I used today, and then I'll start answering questions. So if you have questions, throw them in the chat. Now I'm going to try to do this all at once. We'll see if this works here. It's kind of a big list because I got to do Android and iOS. Yeah, okay, that worked. So just click on whatever links you don't have today. I'm sure most of you have some of those already, but if you don't have all of them, check those links out. Don't hesitate to ask any questions right now. All right, so I do have a couple questions. Please throw some more in there. So the first one that I had, will you be sharing the recording with us? Of course. We'll actually post it here too. You can see our crack marketing team, look at this, has already set it up. So this will be where it is on that COVID Resource Center. So you can check this out probably even tomorrow. That'll be up and ready to go. And then in tasks, can you create a list for the day without adding specific times? Yeah, good question. So you can create a task for that day. So, whether I'm on my desktop, blank there for a second, or my mobile device, I'll click on my mobile device here, task for the day. I can click on the date calendar thing again, right here, the check, right? And I can just set a date. So maybe tomorrow, I won't click set time. I'll click done, save. And if we actually go back over here, task for the day will show up at the top of your calendar. So it won't be a task list for that day, but it will be a task for that day. So you will have that task on the whole day instead of at a specific time. I think that's what you're asking. Let me know in chat if that wasn't it. And then other questions that y'all have about mobile devices? I got 5 minutes. Awesome question. Do tasks show up in the calendar mobile app? They don't. So if I go into my calendar app here, you can see I just clicked into that hamburger menu. Reminders do. And as a reminder, reminders are keep. So if you add a date and time to a keep event, it'll show. But tasks don't, for whatever reason. And I don't know if that's something that will change eventually. I know because they have this separate app, maybe they just keep it separate because of that. Good question. Yeah, great question. Can I create tasks from my Gmail app? You can't as of today. And so historically, tasks was pretty tightly integrated with Gmail on the desktop. And then they kind of split it off. So you definitely can see it still on the right side here. But within your mobile app, it's separate, right? If I click plus here, I'm just kind of creating this new email. There's not a way for me to create a task within my Gmail mobile app. Good question. Yeah, so the question's been so is there a way to make a list of tasks for the day? There's not. You can make separate lists. So if I can do it from here too. If I'm in my desktop here, I can create a new list and name it whatever I want. But I can't actually create a list for that day. It's going to be each task I create, I would need to add that date to it, kind of like that. And then if I go back to my calendar, we'd see that right there, but each one I'm manually adding that date to it. Okay, so I got a couple more coming in. From the calendar app, can you propose a different time for a meeting invite? And that's an awesome question. So let's take a look at this here. This one I didn't actually RSVP, it's passed. I didn't actually know that. So on the very bottom here where it says going, and you can see I haven't RSVP'd, I click the drop down arrow right there, and I can absolutely propose a new time. And it's even gonna overlay everyone's calendars. Look at that. So maybe I'll say, at 11 a.m. Time proposal cannot be in the past. Yeah, I figured that. Good question. What's the capital of Lithuania? That's a great question. I have no idea. I don't know. I can probably get that answer, but we'll hold off on that. Can I add bullet points in the description? And I'm assuming that's on tasks. And correct me if I'm wrong. So if I go in here, I can add details. I cannot add bullet points. I could certainly just list. I should go to lost the items out like that, but it's not going to give me specific bullet points. But then if I go back here, so lost the items out, it looks like it's one word or one phrase. Let's see what it looks like here. Yeah, it doesn't translate really to bullet points, unfortunately. Yeah, that's a good point. So I could use hyphens. Let's go back into it. You guys are testing my mobile skills here. Let's just say I added a space to all those. So it kind of still shows them in that almost like one phrase, but at least you get a distinct hyphen in front of them. And it looks like we did get the answer for the capital of Lithuania. And we are at time. Hopefully, you guys got something out of this. I kind of enjoyed it, and I've enjoyed, oh, I locked it. Sorry, guys. I've enjoyed doing these webinars. Thank you so much for joining us. The recording will be up, hopefully by the end of today, or if not, by tomorrow. And I appreciate all the questions and all of the participation. Thanks, everyone.